How are you, friends? How have you been? Today I thought of us passing through the way we connect TypeScript with Express. It's something I've been thinking about. Most of my friends have been telling me to come up with a video to explain this, as they have been facing difficulties. And today I have thought that it is the best time to do that. So without no further ado, we can get into the real business of the day. So I've opened my terminal and I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to call it make directory. Okay, for you to understand these things much better, it is recommended that while maybe the person you are watching is coding, or the tutor, is also good also to do the thing practically, so that you may have a very solid understanding of what is happening. So without no further much ado, we can dive into the business of the day. So I'm going to make a directory and I'm going to call it Express.js. Now I'm going to cd Express.js, the Express. Then here I'm going to instantiate package.json. We have instantiated everything. Then here, what we are now going to do, I can just open this with VS Code to see what's happening. So basically, we have instantiated the package.json here. This is our package.json. So everything that we are going to install is going to be displayed here at the screen, at the installation, dependencies, all of that. So with that, I can now install the major things, the major packages that we are going to work with. Now, number one, I'm going to install Express. Waiting for it to install. Let's give it a minute. Then with that, I can maybe cut package.json, see what's happened. So you can see we have one dependency, that is Express. So all other dependencies will be displayed there. These are the dev dependencies that we're going to install right now. So I'm going to install another dependency, npm install TypeScript. After installing TypeScript, this will be, we want it only in development. Then I want to install TS Node. Then add types node, add types Express. Then with that, I will also install nodemon. Then add types nodemon, add types nodemon. Or I can just let's just go individually so that everyone can get what's happening. So npm add types Express. These are Express types we are installing. Let's give it a minute to install. Then with that, I can say npm we are going to install it as a dev dependency, TypeScript. Then we are going to install npm its node. Then we are also going to install what? Add types node. Then we are also going to install add types Express. We had already installed. We just want add types node, types node. Then with that, I can now say cat package Node.js, see what has happened. So we have the types express, types node, Express.js node. Then we have one dev dependency. That is our TypeScript. So let's also install node at the types. I want to install node install npm install nodemon for the development purposes. Then with that, you can now install at types nodemon. Then with that set, I can clear everything, and I can now minimize this and open our VS Studio. Okay, I don't know why this one has not been installed as a dev dependency, but there's no way there's no problem, we can still work with it at that way. So when we look at now at my folder structure, I have there are two packages that have been installed. There is a package.lock.json. If I just open it, it has some more information than this. So what simply this one does is it locks your dependencies. It helps during installation processes. It restricts the extent to which you can install your dependencies. So we also have these node modules. This node module is where our packages will be stored, which you have installed. If I can just open it, we have this. So all of these tabs, they have been installed here. So I can just close it. With that set, I'm going now to come up with a TypeScript I'm going to instantiate the TypeScript configuration file. I'm going to instantiate the TypeScript configuration file. I'm going to say node package executor tsc init. Then with that, we have already created it. Then I can now close, and I can now see what's happening in this. So this is a TypeScript configuration file whereby our everything will be inside here. Everything will be inside here. So with this everything, that is any TypeScript configuration, we're going to do it here. I don't know why I've clicked that. So with that, I'm going to create two more folders. Number one, I'm going to call it the build folder. Number two, I'm going to call it src. Now, what we are going to do, we are only going to use TypeScript during development. So what about when we want maybe to take our code to the server? Our code is on the server and we want to run it on the production mode. What do we have to do? So we'll need to execute the JavaScript code. So what usually happens is that TypeScript is transpiled into JavaScript. So what will be happening is that it will be transpiled and the build files of TypeScript will be stored in the build folder. Now, this src directory is where we are going to define maybe our controllers. We are going to define util. We have our folder for database, caching, like that. We can also have another folder for routes. This is where we are going to define our everything. So with that set, I'm going to come up with one file. I'm going to come up with one file called server at the heart of src, server.ts. Now this is now where we are going to define our we are going to start our application from. This is the entry file. So with that said, I'm going to open our tsconfig and I want to configure some things here. Now, when you look at the target, when you look at the target, if I just clear everything like that, and I just open the columns, you'll find out that it has suggested some ES versions. As for that, I work with 2018. Meanwhile, you can choose 2016, 2017, you can choose 2020, 2021, 2022. I prefer 2018. So with that said, I can maybe add the root tree. Then I'm going to do what? I'm going to search one thing. I'm going to search output directory. Output directory. We see it's here. So I'm going to uncomment it. And after uncommenting, I'm going to call it, this one should be build. So it will be this build folder here. That is now where our all files will be built and stored. So I'm going to search for another thing called src, another file, src. It's called root directory. And this here, it's here. So I'm going to uncomment, I'm going to call it src, like that. So our everything will be here, root. This is now our entry, all files will be stored. Now, with that said, I'm going now to, we have configured our output directory and our root directory. Now we know where our files will be stored, that is root directory, whereby you are going to write all controllers, all services, all utils, all models, you are going to define them there. But you see, let's see, yes, module interrupt, true, strict true, false consistent casing in file names is true. Now implicit any, let's just put it, let's just uncomment it. Let's not uncomment that one. So we can included with the TypeScript skip lib check. Okay, I can now come here and say what? I can come here and say include src. So I'm going to put a comma there, src. Then here, src, let's see, src, src. Then here, during a build, I'm going to, this is what will be happening during a build. I'm going to exclude node modules. We don't have to build this. See these node modules, we don't have to build this folder. It's a mega folder, and we don't have to keep on to build it. You don't have to do that. So we have excluded it and we have included the src. So we are going to build this and we are not going to build this. So without so much further ado, that one is set. We can now go directly to our package.json. Yeah, we are going to set some scripts which are very important, and number one of the script is dev script. We want to configure nodemon. This is what is going to be executing our file so that we don't have to keep on restarting the server. So nodemon, can say nodemon nodemon execute. Let's see, nodemon execute ts node. Then our file is stored at src server.ts. It's called that. Then with that said, we need also a build script that is to build our application for production. So I'm going to put tsc. Then with that said, I'm going to say we are going to have another script called start. Then this is the script we are going to start our server at the production level. I'm going to say what? A node. What will happen is that this script will be built, and we'll see it here. So we will execute node build server.js. So after these files have been executed, this file will be executed and will be having another file here, another version of that file, but in a JavaScript format. So we also want another clean. another script called clean. So this is to clean the build. We are going to put rm ref then dist build. I'm used to dist a lot. It will be build that way. Everything is okay. I'm trying to check whether everything is okay. Everything correct. So without so much further ado, I can say now, after these configurations, we have done everything correctly. You can maybe test our application. You can say console.log. What are we going to console? Kenya is a good country. Then with that, I can now come here and say, we want now to execute. Let's see. We want to execute this build script. So I'm going to say npm run build. So let's give it a minute. So everything has been executed. If we now come here and I open this build, you see there is another file here, a JavaScript file. So this is what will happen when we want to push our code to production. So we will have to build, and after we have built, all of the TypeScript will be transpiled into JavaScript format. So, and after that, now we will execute this file. It's what will run on our server. So with that, I think everything is done. Now, let's now start our server. You can say import Express from Express. Import Express from Express. Then I can say const app is equals to require is equals to Express that way. And I can say application const app application is equals to Express. With that is done. Then with that I can say, I can define my port here, const port. So this port you can define it in an environmental variable, but we'll do that when maybe we are building an entire backend. We can do that, but for now I can just define it at our entry file. So const port is equals to 3000 like that. Then I can come and say app.listen. Listen to what? Listen to port. Listen to that port. Then this one will return a callback, and this will have what? This will have a request. These are parameters. Then it will have a type of request. Then it will have a response, which will have a type of response. No. I had forgotten. I don't know why I had forgotten. So that one is now supposed to be like that. So you are going to console.log. Console.log. The server is running on port that way. Then with that I can now come here. Everything I have said this server. Then I can now come and see packet.json. I look at the dev script. I want to execute this so that it can run on development to avoid a lot of restarting. So I can now come here and say npm run dev. So the server is running on 43,000. Let's now write our first API. App. Let's come here and define some dummy data. App students, const students. Let's okay. Let me come here and define something like models. can come here and say models, types. Can come and say types, rename, can come and call it types. Can come there. I can now say student dot interface dot ts. So you have a student interface here. I'm going to say what? Interface I for student. Then with this, I'm going to have interface I student. I'm going to have name. Name is going to be a string. Name is going to be a string. Then I have an ID. ID. This is going to be a dummy data. Then I'm going to have a phone number. Then this phone number will be, no. ID is supposed to be a number. Number. Don't know why I'm doing that, those kind of stupid errors. Then for number, I'm going to have also number. Or you can also put a string. Can be a string. Can just make it a string. So without that, I can say export. Export I student. I student, like that. Export I student. Now if I come to server.ts, I can say import I student from that. Then I can now come here and say, we are just looking at how you can maybe work with the types on. Then I can say const students is an array of type student, that way. Const students is equals to that. Then I can say it has to be an array. Then there is of course I'm going to have the first dictionary, the first not dictionary. That's we use that in Python. The first object will be name, be Dennis, Peter. Then I can come here and say, I can just split here and say student. I can maybe look at that name. Then I can come here and say ID. ID, what is the ID? I can just say 1, 2, 3, 4. ID number. Then I can have phone number. This phone number, I said it can be a string. So 071 23 45 6 67. That way. Then with that set, I can now come and say we want to. I can just duplicate this. Can now come. This one will be Alex. Alex letter, and I can have that. I can maybe change this to like that. I can have another student here called Joan. Maybe Joan karaoke. Then this will be, can just put a 0 there. Then I can remove this and I put 5. Then this put 2. And with that set, everything is set. Now, without that, I can now come and write our first API. I can say app.get. What are we getting? Request. Then you have response. Then of course, you have to give these one types. This one will be of type request. Then you have also to give this one a type. This one will be of type response. Then with that set, I have to import that. It will be request. Then I have to import a response. With that set, I can now come here and say res.status. Let's give it a status of 200. Then I can say JSON message. Can say success. Can put a success there. Success true. Then I can say data. Data will be our students. That way. And everything is okay. So that's set. Our application is still running. Our server is still running. So that is the beauty of using Node.js. So you don't have to keep on restarting everything afresh. So with that said, I can maybe come and execute, see what everything. If everything is okay, can come and say Chrome, and just work with Chrome. Then I can open my account here. No, this is let's see. So I can see where the server is running. The server is running on port 3000. So it will be a very easy thing. I can just say localhost 3000. And you can see everything has been printed. So that's how basically this thing works. So you can see the data, we have this success, we have success, then we have the data. So basically TypeScript is a little bit good when it comes to proper development, but it just there was a major announcement that we are porting it to Go, which will be a very great thing when it comes to performance. So with that said, everything is done. Now I can come and maybe terminate the server and say npm run npm run build. Then I can restart the server again, npm run dev, and I can check the server, see the build folder, what has happened. So we have these so you have this. So you can now see these files. This is now what will be executed on the production. So by default you cannot write this code by it can be written, but it's a tiresome process. So for us to proper type checking, we can maybe work with something like TypeScript. So with that, you can have a nice day. Maybe you can come up with a small backend to do create some APIs to do some crude stuff to see how this entire thing works. But with that said, you are now set to go. So you can subscribe, and more content like this will be coming up. So thank you.